Namaste. Hello everyone. Welcome to Shal Gulhati, Shiva and Mysticism for another episode of Monday with Mahadev. For the last two episodes, I have been telling you a sort of story called The Truth Seeker, in which I talked of a boy who wanted to have darshan of God, who wanted to see his precious jewel, which is consciousness, but in a metaphor, it is a great jewel which you can see in a cave, and that he looks for a master who can give him a map to that cave. And the master gives him that map, even though he's been in the monastery just for a year, and everybody is jealous of him because he's just a newcomer. But he's so sincere that the master feels he's the one who needs the map. And when he undertakes that journey, he comes back after a much longer period than his previous trekkers had come back. And he comes back to say that I saw the jewel, but its color was not red, it was blue. And the master says that in this particular cave, the precious jewel of God has always been blue. It is in some other cave that it may have been red, but here we kept that as a little decoy. And the master does this so that we are not spoon-fed our spirituality, so that we try to find our own consciousness by ourselves. Our gurus, our preceptors can give us maps, they can guide us, but eventually we have to do the spiritual trek for ourselves. We have to do our own dhyana and find our own Atma Bodh. And then I told you last week a story written by Sister Nivedita, who was Swami Vivekananda's disciple, and she wrote a beautiful book called Cradle Tales of Hinduism. And in that, there is a chapter on Shiva in which she gives a beautiful description of him. And in the description, she says that Shiva used to constantly meditate for the welfare of the world, and once he meditated so hard that he realized that there is no world. He went into complete transcendence, into complete being. There was no becoming, no thing. He went into the complete no-thingness, which is consciousness, Chaitanyam, Prakasha. And thereafter she writes that he got up and danced in happiness, saying boom boom. Now the question there was that if Shiva was alone in the universe, who would have seen this sight to write about it? And that made me understand that this is the spiritual point that Vivekananda wanted Nivedita to understand. At the point of complete transcendence, when God alone remains, it is God alone who knows what's happening. Whether he's dancing in happiness or whether he's dancing in memory is known to him. It is true. The yogis say that the expression of self-realization is Sat Chit Ananda. Sat, truth, Chit, consciousness, Ananda, bliss. Consciousness, when it knows itself to be the truth, gets bliss. That is true. But that is at the point of self-realization, at the point of Atma Bodh, at the point when we reach complete transcendence, that little bindu on top of the Om. But when consciousness realizes that now it is only consciousness and no universe, and it has to make a new universe, the mood that it would do that in, the Shivalok Unmilana, how would it create a new universe? I would reckon it would be by memory, by remembering all the beautiful things that he loved in the past universe. And that kind of memory can have happiness, yes, but it can have sadness also. You can be sad sometimes in remembering beautiful memories, therefore you create them again. So these are exceptions to the rule. We must always know that the exception to the rule is what proves the rule. Like we say largely that God is Nirakar, formless, Chaitanyam, Prakasha, great energy, that is correct. But to think that God cannot have ever come in a body is not correct, because lots of great bhakts have vouched for this. Swami Ramakrishna Paramhans, Swami Vivekananda's master, used to see Kali every time he used to go into the temple. That was not an energy form, he used to actually behold her. That is what he said. And when there are people like Sudama, they meet God as a friend in Krishna. When there are gopis like Radha, they meet him as a friend, as a sakha in the gardens. Now I'm going to share with you a beautiful photograph that I saw on Facebook, which is Parvati and Shiva. Shivji is seated on a rock in the mountains, and Parvati is garlanding him with a phoolon ki mala, a garland of flowers, and he's seated slightly above her, but he's bowing down to her to accept her offering. Now, Shiva seated higher on a rock is just symbolic of the ultimate transcendence, which is above all. And him bending down to receive that garland from Parvati, who is his most beloved, who is Shakti, who is Prakriti, who is all of nature, she is Mother Nature. This shows that after his complete transcendence, God loves to come and accept his own universe and its offerings. Like we say, Tera tujhko arpan. God creates this universe from the place of absolute transcendence along with his Shakti, and then he can come and see this universe, and he can come and have the same compassion, the same love, the same fondness for us as we have for him. This is how the little exceptions prove the rule. So while it is true that God cannot be defined, he cannot be limited to a body, it is also true that God, who can do anything, can, if he so wants, come in a body. That's the exception to the rule. In the case of Parvati, he comes as Shiv Shankar, the yogi, who marries her and becomes Umapati. In the case of Krishna, he comes as the friend to Sudama, he comes as the charioteer, the guide to Arjun, he comes as the beloved to Radha, he comes as the son to Yashoda. So there is a beautiful array of this weave of God's Leela. How the absolute transcendence creates so many things out of nothingness, and how it comes from a place of no time, timelessness, to a world of time and form and shape. We only have to open our eyes to see all around us. The presence of God is everywhere. So I hope that you can now collate these 3 videos and understand how, when our gurus, our preceptors tell us a particular thing, it is absolutely true, but they still want us to use our own mind, our anubhava, our yukti, our experience, and see for ourselves what is the truth. For us to go into that deep cave of meditation and see for us what is the truth of divine consciousness, that it does live within us. And this is possible. This is possible because of the very same texts, the stories that they give us, the dhyana techniques that they give us. It is all possible. The Buddha will always tell everybody that not only I can be Buddha, Bodha, the awakened one, so can you. All the gurus who have found their consciousness indwelling will always tell you that I found it, so can you. I hope you liked this video. Join me again next Monday, and I will be back with yet another Shiva wisdom for you. Om Namah Shivaya.